Chapter 1 The Biafra Solar System Wakanda's Soul Hammer. The solar panels shifted to catch the flare that rose from the sun, the converted power channeled into the firing tube which was then ignited by T'Challa. He monitored the readings on the display. There were a few measurements that were slightly off the desired points that he wanted, but in general the weapon operated as planned. "Shutting down the firing tube," said T'Challa. He quickly wrote orders for certain tweaks to be made to the system, and he sent out the messages via small hologram packets from a floating screen to the technicians on the bridge. "It was a good session today, but there is need for improvement," said T'Challa. "I will be by the shadow physics teleporter if you need me." He left the bridge satisfied that there were now two weapons capable of destroying an alien armada from the rear if they ever encroached on the Earth. The second Soul Hammer was owned by Tony Stark in another solar system. The Shadow Physic Teleporter allowed quick transport of personnel to and from Wakanda to their Soul Hammer. However, T'Challa didn't need the teleporter because he had a personal one disguised as a golden panther seal around his neck. He checked that his designs for the Shadow Physic Teleporter took into account the aftershocks of harnessing a sun into a weapon. The aftershocks would be minor but regular, which would lead to stress and result in malfunctions. While going through the diagnosis, T'Challa received a message from his spy on the planet Biafra that the androids from Earth and their accomplices, agents of S.W.O.R.D., had accelerated their scheme. T'Challa notified the chief technician of his immediate departure, and then the Black Panther went to his spy. Chapter 2 The surface of Biafra had an arid mountainous topology with no flora, fauna, and water. Pockets of poisonous air moved sporadically and were undetectable without an air tester. Wakandan scouts had left various buried vehicles and bunkers if needed by the technicians of the Soul Hammer, and it was in one of the bunkers that T'Challa appeared inside of. He hugged and kissed Nakia, who was both his spy and his secret fiancée. He lifted her and went to the bunker's bed. "Permission to start the debrief," said Nakia. "Permission granted," said T'Challa as they started to make love. "The androids are indeed an offshoot of the machine world movement on Earth, and they are conducting an experiment with the help of the United Nations-backed extraterrestrial intelligence agency S.W.O.R.D., said Nakia. "Interesting," said T'Challa. "The androids and S.W.O.R.D. have been on the planet for the last 7 days. I have been observing them over the last 5 days. 2 hours ago." Later, T'Challa held Nakia's hand as she guided him through the wall of the fort with the use of her matter temporary dematerializer suit. The two warriors camouflaged themselves with cloaking devices. The dead bodies of the 7 S.W.O.R.D. agents were laid out 3 feet apart from each on the ground. The lights in the fort went off and a hulking android emerged from the shelter that was in the middle of the fort. "I see you, Black Panther. It has been a long time," said the android. "You may not recognize me, so it's best that I return to the form that you will remember me by." The android shrunk down to 6 feet tall in height. His body was covered in a Black Panther ceremonial suit style with a blue hue. A star was on the forehead and chest. A red and white strip ran from the face to the mid-region. T'Challa decloaked while Nakia went to the bodies. "Yes, I remember," said T'Challa. "As you may have guessed, I made the leap from just hating immigrants to my country to immigrants from other planets as well by joining S.W.O.R.D., replied American Panther. "What have you done to yourself?" asked T'Challa. "Improved my ability to protect my people," replied American Panther. "But you don't need to think of me as the American Panther anymore, just call me A.P. Nakia transmitted her scans of the bodies to T'Challa's computerized mask, and the images showed an infestation of techno-microbes in the agents. "You are still a madman no matter what you choose to call yourself," said T'Challa. "Thank you," said American Panther as a sword materialized in his hand. "Guns would be a waste of bullets because you can dodge them, but a blade is more effective." T'Challa made a quick scan for weak points on American Panther and found none. The android body was made from various alien alloys and systems. "You murdered these men, and for that you will have to be judged," said T'Challa. With a fence out of the option, T'Challa anticipated where American Panther would strike him in the first 5 swipes of the sword or swords. Then T'Challa planned for when A.PS firearms would make their appearance. As for the microbes, he had an inkling of what they were. "Agent of Wakanda, get to Vehicle 3 and bring it," said T'Challa, and he tossed his teleporter to Nakia. Then the Black Panther attacked AP as a bluff tactic, which was easily deflected. Meanwhile, the microbes in the dead bodies reached maturity and the bodies levitated, then merged. T'Challa guessed that only seconds remained until his hunch was proven right. He eluded the first 5 offensives from AP, then the Black Panther brought out his energy shield mere moments before a shoulder gun appeared on the opponent. The merged bodies of the agents transformed into the creature that T'Challa recognized as Terminus. The creature rapidly grew to 45 meters in height, then it produced a red atomic fireball around it. AP flew up to the opaque helmet of the creature and then he was absorbed into it. T'Challa took the opportunity to run at a superhuman pace from the vicinity before the atomic fireball grew larger. "T'Challa, I'm a mile away from you and I see the new threat," said Nakia over the comms. "It is a weapon meant to stop Celestials," said T'Challa. "Don't wait on me. Engage it before it flies out to space." T'Challa looked up at the mountain range in front of him and suddenly a Wakandan Prowler Megabot leapt over the mountains. Chapter 3. The Prowler covered the distance to Terminus in a flash and tried to sink its fangs into the helmet. "That will not work, the creature has a rapid healing factor," said T'Challa. "Then what will?" asked Nakia. The Prowler dropped on its 4 legs and circled Terminus. Then a laser shot out of the Wakandan robot and the impact knocked Terminus down. The robot went up on its hind legs and transformed into a bipedal warrior. T'Challa saw a spaceship come down from the sky near the battle and Thanos the Mad Titan was on top of it. Next story, A Good Crisis. Chapter 1. The planet Biafra. T'Challa sensed magic from Thanos, so he told Nakia over the comms to get out of the Prowler vehicle. A mere moment after she teleported to T'Challa's side, Thanos ripped off the legs of both the gigantic Terminus and the Prowler from his vantage point on top of his spaceship. "What is he doing now?" asked Nakia and took out her binoculars. T'Challa's hypervision locked onto Thanos. Via the computer built in his mask, the Black Panther contacted the Soul Hammer weapon at the sun and realigned the weapon towards Biafra. Then T'Challa ordered the release of a less than 1% mini burst. He imagined the Soul Hammer's magnets pulled a solar flare to its firing pin, then transmutated it into a refined laser beam, which then shot out at the arid planet that was on the other side of the solar system. It was presently night on the side of Biafra that Thanos was, so the sun was not directly facing it. T'Challa worked around this by quickly calculating the gravitational spin of the planet, the atomic wave created by Terminus, and the light speed backdraft that Thanos' ship caused when it had jumped out of hyperspace into Biafra's low orbit. In T'Challa's estimation, the combination of all 3 factors created an invisible funnel from space to Thanos, which the laser beam would be sucked into. A mile away, Thanos ripped apart the face shield of Terminus with telekinesis and pulled American Panther out of it. He brought the android face to face with him. "I have reconsidered your proposal," said Thanos. "Deal is off," replied American Panther. "Really? Below us is a mutilated and obsolete machine. Perhaps eons ago it would have challenged Celestials, but now it can't even get by me," said Thanos. "I merely wanted to know where the Terminus seeds were in the cosmos, that's all I wanted from you," said American Panther. "No. You want to stop aliens from going to Earth, and I want the planet's name vilified to the point humans will be killed on sight when they venture out of their solar system," said Thanos. "Why? Is it because of the defeats Earth has handed to you?" "I saw your records," said American Panther. "Did my record also show the numerous times I saved the Earth and the universe?" "I don't believe you," said American Panther. Thanos' eyes gleamed. We will need the human called Claw for his control of spectrum radio waves. Go to Earth and get him, said Thanos. I hate to break up your scheme, but the Black Panther is here right now and you stopped me from killing him. He most likely just heard your plan, said American Panther. The Wakandan is here, said Thanos. Thanos was a would-be conqueror of Wakanda only to become her prisoner until he escaped, and from that time there was no pacification of the feud between the two. A sudden rise in temperature aroused Thanos' suspicion, and then he sensed a great force above him. He looked up and saw a beam of light that moved faster than a comet across the heavens, then it descended over him with the brightness of the morning star. Chapter 2 The laser beam broke the sound barrier when it took down Thanos' ship. T'Challa's energy shield from his wristband blocked the debris that flew at Nakia and him. His fiancée helped by using her dematerialization uniform to pass loose metals and rocks through both him and her when she pressed her hand on him. The rearrangement of the immediate topology went on for 5 minutes and ended abruptly. T'Challa sent a message to the Soul Hammer to activate its camouflage protocols. Then he peered into the fires where the spaceship had fallen. Thanos walked through the fires and took off his damaged armor. The Titan locked eyes with T'Challa and disappeared. Verify that American Panther is dead, said T'Challa to Nakia, and she teleported. The Black Panther raised his head and saw Thanos descending above him. T'Challa turned on his mystical defenses and telekinesis dampeners. I am tired of you, said Thanos. T'Challa fired a spear of light into Thanos and flipped away. The Black Panther landed and sprung back at Thanos, who had since landed. T'Challa used his laser knives to slash the hamstrings of the Titan and the back of the neck. T'Challa knew that his opponent was close to plucking him out of the air because Titans were naturally faster than humans and Thanos was a super Titan. T'Challa wanted the wounds he inflicted to remain open for at least another minute before the accelerated healing factor took effect, because a pocket of poisonous air, innate to the planet, approached the duo, which T'Challa sensed. Laser beams came out of Thanos' eyes and T'Challa redirected it with the shield to Thanos' shoulder. But the Titan countered with a side chop of the hand that caught T'Challa in the ribs and floored him. The invisible enemy, which was the poisonous air, arrived and the microbes attacked them. The wounds on Thanos became infected and his body automatically began to fight back, which left him in agony. T'Challa, there is no sign of American Panther, said Nakia over the comms. Noted, said T'Challa. Thanos disappeared soon after T'Challa had responded. The Black Panther rolled onto his back. He felt pain all over his body, and it was sheer determination that made him stand up again. Chapter 3 Earth. 3 days later, Ulysses Claw quickly recognized a good crisis to capitalize on. The days of biological humans were numbered. Mutants, mutates and artificial intelligence machines were on the verge of takeover of the planet. Claw offered the ultra-rich humans the chance of immortality by becoming living sound waves much like him in return for a stake in their passive income assets. His business place was in a quiet Switzerland town called Slatblattler. American Panther, having transmitted his consciousness to a backup android body, came to get Claw. Tell him it's about killing T'Challa once and for all, said American Panther to the receptionist in the lobby of Claw's clinic. Moments later, that was quite over the top, said Claw in his office. But it got me in the door, so to speak, said American Panther. Who do you represent? The planet Earth. In American colors I see, said Claw. I need you to poison the well in terms of infecting every human in outer space so that any alien they come in contact with will die from radio wave radiation, said American Panther. Thanos will be backing us and T'Challa is already on a false trail and tracking us. My dispute with T'Challa is professional, not personal. Killing him or embarrassing him is one of the same to me. As for turning humans into walking cell towers in the universe, the challenge amuses me, so I am in, said Claw. Wakanda. Nakia's house unlived was the word T'Challa made up to describe Nakia's abode. She was away on so many spy missions that her home reflected nothing of her personality, yet T'Challa felt at ease in the space. He could trick his mind for a minute or two into not being bothered with the world. Conversing with Nakia was another catharsis for him to unload his troubled mind. "I should not have used the soul hammer at that moment because it jeopardized the safety of its crew," said T'Challa. "At least you have a conscience. Some other leader might not care so much, which brings me to something that has been on my mind. As much as we share the same bed, you are still the head of state. You see the bigger picture while I can only advise you on what I may see. If I want to control Wakanda, then I will participate in Challenge Day, but I will not do it by having the ear of its leader," said Nakia.